So a few days ago, Pro Football Focus posted an article ranking the top 130 quarterbacks at the FBS level. They took all 130 of them and ranked them 1 through 130. Now, my friends and I, we were kind of talking about the list a few days ago in our group chat, and I spent a few minutes going through the beginning of the list, and it was so bad that I didn't even want to finish because I wanted to hold off, make a video of me reacting to this list because, like I said, I got through about the first 20 or 30, and this list is absolutely brutal. Now, I know a lot of people really like Pro Football Focus. I myself really do. I think that they're one of the best outlets out there. However, there are times when Pro Football Focus, their rankings are pretty bad. And based on what I've seen so far, ranking their top 130 quarterbacks, this list is pretty wild. So again, I'm going to scroll through the top 130 and kind of just give my reactions and my instant takes by seeing where some of these quarterbacks are ranked. All right, so we're scrolling through right now, and it's no surprise, we got Trevor Lawrence at number 1, Justin Fields at number 2, and I already have my first problem, Jamie Newman at number 3. I've talked about this in previous videos. I think Jamie Newman has probably one of the best opportunities in all of college football. He's definitely a Heisman candidate. I think he's going to be a good option for Georgia. But the third best quarterback in college football, I mean, this guy was okay at Wake Forest. Like, I mean, he was good, but I mean, nothing really that was too flashy. And, you know, he's going to a Georgia offense. Again, I think that they're going to be a good team, but the third best quarterback in college football, yeah, no. I don't even think Jamie Newman's the third best quarterback in the SEC. We're 3 in, and I already have my first problem. All right, I got no problem with Sam Howell at 4, Tanner Morgan at 5. I think that's okay. Sam Ehlinger at 6. I talked about this on my last podcast when I was breaking down the Big 12. I don't understand what people's problem is with Sam Ehlinger. No, he's not the best quarterback in the country, but he's a top 5, top 6, 7 quarterback in the country. I don't understand why a lot of people think he's overrated. The numbers he's put up over the years have been really good. I think it's just because people have a problem with Texas quarterbacks and the fact he hasn't led Texas to where a lot of people expected him to, but I don't get why people think Sam Ehlinger's an overrated quarterback. I mean, that's just my personal opinion. Again, he's not top 3, but I definitely think he's a top 10 quarterback in all of college football. Keaton Slovis at 7. I'm really upset we're not going to be seeing Keaton Slovis. I mean, well, we might see him in the spring, but I don't think a spring football season's going to happen, so hopefully it does, but I'm really bummed about Keaton Slovis because he was kind of like my biggest Heisman sleeper coming into the season. Brock Purdy at 8, no problem with that. And here we go. Here is when I have a problem. Dustin Crum, Kent State at number 9. Dustin Crum, a really good quarterback, probably one of the better group of 5 quarterbacks that there is. But at number 9, Lane Hatcher from Arkansas State at 10. I mean, this one I don't know much about. I don't know much about Lane Hatcher. He might be a very good quarterback. He might be a future stud in the NFL if that happens, and I'll eat my words on that. But at number 10, no thanks. All right, De'Ara King at 11, no problem there. Michael Penix Jr. at 12? I mean, really? I mean, one of my friends I do my podcast with, he's an Indiana fan, and I'm fairly certain if I were to ask him where you'd rank him across all FBS quarterbacks, I doubt he'd have him at 12. I don't think he'd have him in the top 25 or top 30. He's still a great quarterback, but again, at 12? Grant Goodell at 13? Oh my god. No. Just no. Peyton Ramsey at 14 for Northwestern? Yeah, he's a transfer from Indiana, but 14th best? No, I don't agree with that either. All right, Dylan Gabriel, he's a solid quarterback. Kellen Mond's a solid quarterback. Ian Book's one of those weird quarterbacks where, like, he gets the job done, but I don't know necessarily how good of a quarterback he is. My friend who's a Notre Dame fan, who I also do the podcast with, he's not super high on Ian Book. Again, he said the same thing I do, where Ian Book, he'll win you the games you should win, but he won't come through in the games you really need to win. So Ian Book, I'm not exactly sure. KJ Costello, I'm really excited to see what he can do at Mississippi State. I'm expecting a huge season from him. If you play college football fantasy, pick up KJ Costello. Shane Buechele at 19. Spencer Rattler at 20, even though he hasn't really played any meaningful snaps yet. There's a chance Spencer Rattler could be a top 5 quarterback in all of college football, but having him at 20 when he hasn't really proven anything yet, I don't know. Let me know in the comments if you think that's too high or low. I think it's just right, but again, it's too tough to really determine. Chase Garbers, he's a really underrated quarterback in the Pac-12. I think Cal, does it say it right here? I don't think it has their record. Cal was like, I don't know, 7-1, 7-0. They had some crazy good record last year when he was the quarterback. So Chase Garbers, definitely a name to keep an eye on in the Pac-12. We have an interesting 4 right here. Mac Jones, Skylar Thompson, Charlie Brewer, Jack Cohn. Mac Jones, I mean, we saw what he could do last year for Alabama when he stepped in. I'm not exactly sure how good he is yet. I'll have to wait and see. Skylar Thompson, we talked about this again. By the way, if you haven't watched my Big 12 preview, go and watch that because we talked about all these quarterbacks. Skylar Thompson, a really sneaky good quarterback in the Big 12. I really like him. Along with Charlie Brewer, although he's been there for I think a few years, I feel Charlie Brewer is still really slept on. I really like him at Baylor. 26 might be a little too high. I'll tell you one thing, Jack Cohn is too high at 27. I'm sorry, Nebraska fans, if you really like Jack Cohn. I think he's a solid quarterback, but 27, I don't agree with that at all. Chase Bryce at Duke, all right, the Clemson transfer. I mean, he hasn't really proven anything yet either, and he's coming in at 28, so I guess this list may be based off potential as well. I'm not exactly sure. John Reese Plumlee at Ole Miss. He's a fun one to watch. If you haven't watched highlights of him already, he very well might be the fastest quarterback in college football. He's a fun guy to watch. And we got Air Force coming in at 31. Doesn't Air Force run the triple option, though? I mean, maybe they don't. Maybe I'm mistaken, but I'm fairly certain Air Force runs the triple option. If they don't, I'm wrong. I'm sorry, but if they do run the triple option, I don't know exactly how you have them at 31. Not exactly sure there. Okay, Brady White coming in at number 40 on Memphis. Brady White's a really good quarterback. I think he may be the best quarterback in the group of 5. He's definitely better than a lot of Power 5 quarterbacks. I had him as a potential Heisman sleeper coming into this year, so already Brady White is way too low coming in at 40. All right. Oh, this is a good group to talk about right here. So Tyler Show comes in at 47 for Oregon. There's a chance he might not even, well, since Oregon's not playing this fall, hopefully they play in the spring, but there's a chance he wouldn't even win the starting quarterback job coming into the fall. He has, I don't have up how many snaps he's played in his career. It's definitely not that much. But the fact that he comes in at 47 when he's proven essentially nothing, and the fact that it's over a bunch of quarterbacks that I'm thinking of that haven't even been mentioned yet. But the next one, again, just this one right here, the fact that you have Tyler Show over Kyle Trask. Kyle Trask comes in at number 48. I had Kyle Trask as one of my Heisman sleepers when I did a Heisman sleeper video as well. I think Kyle Trask has a chance to lead Florida to the playoff this year. I think he has a chance to be a really good quarterback, and he comes in at number 48. I know that we're definitely going to have a bunch of SEC and Florida fans that are going to be watching this video. They're definitely going to be agreeing with me, saying that Kyle Trask is way too low on this list. So 48. I mean, when I did my top 10 quarterbacks list a few months ago, I don't remember, but I'm pretty sure I had him in my top 10. So Kyle Trask, I mean, I guess that's the biggest one, but there's definitely a few on this list that I'm still going to get to that I know are absolutely ridiculous, that are absolutely horrible spots where they're at. Like, Felipe Franks comes in at 53, just a few spots behind Kyle Trask. Felipe Franks, he potentially could be great this year, but what we've seen, that's likely not going to happen. And the fact that he's one above Sean Clifford at Penn State. Sean Clifford, he's another guy that I think with Penn State's offense this year, he could be a sneaky good quarterback, and the fact that he's at 54 behind Felipe Franks, that's a yikes. Dylan McCaffrey at 58, I mean, he could be a really good quarterback, but he hasn't proven anything. He hasn't proven anything yet, and we've seen in years past, it's been a while since Michigan's had like a really, really solid quarterback. They've had some decent ones, but they put up really good numbers. It's been a while. Max Duggan at 60. A lot of people, when we were doing our Big 12 preview show, a lot of people were really high on Max Duggan. He had some okay numbers last year. I mean, I didn't really watch in depth his games and how he did. So me just looking at his numbers, I personally don't understand the hype, but maybe watching him plays a different story. So for all you people that think Max Duggan is a really good quarterback in the Big 12, let me know. Do you think 60 is too high, too low? I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts. And here is where my biggest problem is. I mean, all bias aside, because, I did go to Arizona State. I did see every game he played last year. Jaden Daniels at 63. I had him as a top 10 quarterback coming into this season. Probably next year for his junior season, he's going to be more of a Heisman candidate. This guy was, he was a true freshman last year. Arguably one of the most exciting, one of the best quarterbacks in all of college football last year. Again, as only a true freshman, I think, again, I don't know if it has it right here, but, it says right here, 2.4% turnover-worthy play rate, the 14th best in the country. I believe he only threw 2 interceptions in the 13 games that he played last year. The fact that Jaden Daniels is number 63 is an absolute joke. Again, this guy has the potential to be a top 10 quarterback in all of college football. He very well could have been if there would have been a fall season for the Pac-12 this year. So Jaden Daniels, the fact that he's right in the middle, because this is at number 63, so we're literally almost at the halfway point where half the quarterbacks in college football at the FBS level are better than him. Yeah, that's a bad one right there. And speaking of, true freshman quarterbacks, Hank Bachmeier at Boise State, he was fantastic for them last year. Him coming in at 65, I think that's an absolute joke as well. I mean, going through the rest of this list, I mean, it's really tough to determine how good, Clayton Tune at Houston is, Sean Chambers of Wyoming, Brendan Armstrong, Virginia. It's kind of tough to really go too in-depth on this one unless, it's kind of like the bigger names. James Blackman, Florida State at number 79. What are we going to get from him in Florida State this year? I have no idea. Oh, wow. Spencer Sanders at number 84. Spencer Sanders at number 84. I get he's not one of the best quarterbacks in the Big 12. He's probably not top 3. He's definitely top 5, I would say. With the cast he has around him this year, Oklahoma State has a chance to have one of the best offenses in all the country. They definitely have the best trio in regards to quarterback, running back, and wide receiver. I think personally in college football this year, maybe you can make the case for like Alabama, maybe a few other schools you can make that case for, but Spencer Sanders at 84? I mean, this guy was an absolute stud last year for the Cowboys. He's only going to improve this year. So you're telling me Akron? Are you telling me Akron's quarterback? No offense to Cato Nelson, but are you telling me Akron's quarterback is better than Spencer Sanders at Oklahoma State? Are you telling me Toledo's quarterback? Are you telling me South Alabama's quarterback? Again, I don't know how Pro Football Focus determined these rankings because all the stats they have is remarkable, but you definitely can't tell me that Spencer Sanders is number 84. You can't. Now, here is the one that I wanted to get to. This is the exciting one. For those of you that have watched my previous videos over the weeks, over the months, if you listened to my podcast last year at all, you know that I am not a fan of Bo Nix. I don't like him. Can he potentially be a really good quarterback for Auburn in the coming years? He easily could. But watching this guy play, now I get last year against like Bama and some games later in the season, he did show potential, but this guy I thought was awful last year. I mean, watching him throw the ball, he was overthrowing guys, he was undershooting guys, he was finishing games with like 50% completion percentages. I know he won SEC Freshman of the Year, which, by the way, how did he win Freshman over the Year over Derek Stingley? I'm not exactly sure. I don't think Bo Nix was Freshman of the Year caliber. I don't think Bo Nix is that good. However, as I said, I do believe he has the potential. He has the chance to be a really good quarterback. But the one thing I do know is, I know for a fact there are not 94 better quarterbacks at the FBS level. There are not. If I had to make my own list, I'd have Bo Nix maybe like in the 30 to 40 range, and that's just because I'm not a fan of him. So I think having him 30 to 40 is more than fair. Having him at 95. 94 quarterbacks in college football that are better than Bo Nix. I mean, maybe there are some, Bo Nix truthers out there that really like his game, that really watched like every snap he had and can tell me that he's actually a pretty good quarterback. If that's the case, if you are a real fan of Bo Nix, let me know what you think about this 95 ranking, because as me, who's not a fan of Bo Nix at all, I am flabbergasted. I'm without speech. I have no speech to say that Bo Nix is the 95th best quarterback in college football. I'm just shocked by that. And then you just go one more down to Dorian Thompson-Robinson of UCLA. I get he's not the best overall quarterback in the Pac-12 or in college football, but watching this guy play, he's another guy that's definitely better than 96 overall. We saw what he did in that Washington State comeback last year. He had some really good games. He's still a young quarterback, so 96 overall. I mean, I hate on UCLA. I've never liked UCLA. I can't stand UCLA. UCLA hater all my life. But I can respect and acknowledge that Dorian Thompson-Robinson is not worthy of being number 96 on this list. I mean, right here you have Ryan Hilinski coming in at number 100. I mean, I think I only watched like 2 or maybe 3 South Carolina games at all last year, so I didn't really get a huge sample size as Ryan Hilinski, but the games I watched, I thought he was pretty good, above average. I definitely don't think he's in that bottom tier of quarterbacks. So again, if you're an SEC fan, if you watch all the SEC games, if you watched a lot of Ryan Hilinski, let me know if this is a bad rating or if this is good, because I definitely don't think he's worthy of being 100 from what I saw. And just looking at the stats, I think he's an above-average quarterback who then, coming into this season, I think he could be one of the better quarterbacks in the SEC. All right, going down the rest of this list now, I don't think there's going to be any notable names. I mean, we got Vanderbilt, Texas State, Rice, Kansas, Marshall, Rutgers. I don't think necessarily we're going to get a quarterback down here that's deserving of being any higher, because I think at this point, if you're this low on the list, you definitely deserve to be there. Yeah, I haven't even heard of any of these guys. It's going to be interesting to see who has the absolute worst quarterback. We have Navy coming in at 124, so that makes some sense, especially since they're losing Malcolm Perry. Again, going back to Air Force, coming in, what, 31st? I don't understand that at all. I mean, my guess would be these would all be triple option quarterbacks. We got Georgia Tech right here, triple option quarterback. Josh Jackson of Maryland at 127. Okay, so I know Josh Jackson a few years ago when he was at Virginia Tech, he kind of struggled, but is he this bad? Is he literally like, what, the 4th worst FBS quarterback in all of college football? I mean, maybe, I don't know, whatever the reasoning is, maybe he is, but wow, Josh Jackson. Didn't he have a lot of hype too a few years ago? Like there was a lot of buzz surrounding him in Virginia Tech, and then nothing made of it. But 127. Oh, what? Adrian Martinez, 129. So Adrian Martinez, based off this, so the worst quarterback is Connecticut's quarterback, which is very fitting. Nebraska fans, if you're out there, let me know, because I get Adrian Martinez has not lived up to expectations over the years. I remember I had him in fantasy the last 2 years. I've had him in my fantasy college football league the last 2 years, and he hasn't lived up to expectations. This guy 2 years ago was a Heisman candidate. Last year he was also, I think, a Heisman candidate. Again, didn't live up to expectations at all. But is he, in your opinion, the second worst quarterback in all of college football? I have to look at his stats right now. I gotta see what exactly his stats were last year with Nebraska. So he had 2,000 passing yards, 10 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, completed just under 60% of his passes. Let's see what rushing. Rushing, 626 yards, 7 rushing touchdowns. So, I mean, total, he had 2,600 yards with 17 touchdowns. And again, his freshman season, 2,600 yards, 17 touchdowns, then 630 rushing yards, 8 rushing touchdowns. Again, I get he hasn't lived up to expectations and hasn't lived up to the hype, but the second worst quarterback in college football, I don't think so. Again, Nebraska fans, if you're out there, or Big Ten fans that have watched his games, let me know if you think that's fair, because maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he is that bad, but the second worst quarterback, I don't believe that at all. But yeah, that does wrap up this list for the 130 best quarterbacks in all of college football. If you guys would like to take a look at the full 130 list, I'm going to put a link to this article in the description of this video so you can go and you can check it out. But this was something. It was entertaining for sure. I definitely had a good time looking through this. There are some bad rankings on here, though. There are some bad rankings. I'd love to hear you guys' thoughts. I'd like to hear what quarterbacks you think are too high, too low. Again, if you want to check out the article, the link is in the description of this video. Go give it a read and come back to this video and leave a comment down below on what quarterback you think is too high, what quarterback you think is too low, what quarterback I'm completely wrong on, that I'm too high on, that I'm too low on. But let me know your guys' thoughts, because we're all going to have different opinions, and I want to hear your guys'. So again, go read the article. Let me know who you think the most overrated, the most underrated quarterback is in all of college football. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up if you enjoy the video. It really helps the video grow, and it helps the channel grow as well. So again, give this video a thumbs up. I would really appreciate it. And again, if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to my channel. If you love college football content, this is definitely the channel for you. I post a bunch of college football content, and with the season hopefully starting in the coming weeks, we're going to be pumping out a lot of great college football videos. So again, if you haven't already, make sure to click the subscribe button and turn on those notifications so you never miss a video. But yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Give this video a thumbs up, and I'll see you all in my next video.